Why Uganda tourism is upbeat despite poor performance report. The Uganda Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife, and Antiquities has reported a loss in revenue in the tourism sector during the first COVID-19 phase of 2020. The Permanent Secretary of the Uganda Ministry of Tourism submitted a report yesterday on the first 3 months of 2021. Basically, the report stated losses in almost all categories such as hotel occupancy, number of foreign visitors, and employment. It is the response to this report that is giving Uganda an optimistic outlook on the future. This was contained in a report by Doreen Katusiime, the Permanent Secretary (PS) of the Uganda Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife, and Antiquities on May 27, 2021 at the Uganda Media Centre in Kampala titled Performance of the Tourism Sector in 2020 and the First 3 Months of 2021. In summary, annual foreign exchange earnings dropped by 73% to $0.5 billion. Foreign visitors dropped by 69.3% to 473,085. Employment opportunities dropped by 70% to 160,980. As of June 2020, hotel occupancy rates dropped from an average of 58% to as low as 5% with over 75% of hotel bookings, 448,996, cancelled, causing a direct loss of $320.8 million, an equivalent of UGX 1.19 trillion. In response to the loss, the PS said that the Uganda government is working with the private sector and development partners undertook several interventions to resuscitate the sector as follows. Working with the Ministry of Health, the government developed and disseminated tourism sector standard operating procedures to guide the reopening of tourism businesses. Upcountry hotels and lodges were exempted from paying VAT until June 30, 2021. Uganda Development Bank was capitalized by the government to extend low-interest credit to tourism businesses at half the rate offered by other private commercial lending institutions. Government intensified both international and domestic campaigns to popularize tourism through Take on the Pearl campaign, Pearl of Africa Virtual Tourism Expo, and branding of sports personalities like world record holder Joshua Cheptegei. The government also engaged market destination representatives in key source markets to keep the destination afloat. Through the Uganda Wildlife Authority, government intensified operations in protected areas to keep poaching, illegal wildlife trade, and trafficking under control. In addition, community engagement, control of invasive species, and human-wildlife conflict was intensified to keep the tourism resource base intact. Tourism development continued amidst the challenges. Regional museums were finalized, the Amigabe, King's Palace was renovated, Mt Ruwenori infrastructure was upgraded, and Source of the Nile infrastructure was improved. Finally, government continued to improve infrastructure at UHTTI, Uganda Hotel and Tourism Training Institute, and at UWRTI, Uganda Wildlife Research and Training Institute, with signs of recovery amidst the decline based on a survey taken by the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife, and Antiquities and also showing increased bookings by the first quarter of 2021 with tourists increasing from 27,542 at the end of August to 83,464 by the end of March. In the same period, hotel occupancy increased by 10% from a low 20% by the end of December 2020 to 31% by the end of March 2021, and a four-fold increase in weekly flights from 3 flights on average per week to 11 took place. Accordingly, 30% of tourism jobs were recovered. At the Uganda Wildlife Authority, although still far below the UGX 60 billion mark, revenues doubled in the first 3 months of the year to UGX 6 billion compared to the last 3 months of 2020. The Uganda Wildlife and Conservation Centre registered an increase in visitation by 12.9% and the Source of the Nile by 3.9% respectively, up from the end of last year. The PS revealed plans to consolidate the gains, including the rehabilitation of Kagula Hill, Bishop Hannington Site, Kayabwe Uganda Equator, Kitagata Hot Springs, Amigabe Palace, and the Nyero Rock Paintings. The country's national parks will witness the development of 8 new camping sites in Queen Elizabeth, Murchison Falls, Lake Mburo, and Mtingahinga National Parks, along with the reintroduction of 15 giraffes in Pyenyupe Wildlife Reserve and 200 cobs to be translocated to Kadipo Valley National Park. Up to 3,000 hectares will be cleared of invasive and exotic species, with degraded area restoration plans developed for 640 hectares in all protected areas. #Rebuilding Travel.